specifically to the task at hand, correct?
Correct.
Yes, that was just
Yeah.
a good point.
Yes,
We are discussing the removal of the book or books.
I have no problem if this book goes away, but I have problems if we start down the path of censorship. I just don't know where we begin and where we stop. Some of it has to identify very distinct, clear standards of what's going to be allowed and what's not going to be allowed. And I'm not sure we have that ability to do it.
Brian?
Probably echo those comments, but I do wonder if there's a way to come alongside families and come up with a way, probably not gonna be perfect, but a way to somehow maybe put something on hard parents to not want kids to check out a certain age or something like that. Again, I don't think we can take that liability ourselves, but we can say we'll do our best effort. Yeah, the hard part is when you start, I don't know who wants to sign up for the job to say that they determine what's appropriate and what is not. I think it's really hard.
Excellent.
Yeah, kind of this, I have the same thoughts, kind of where would we start and stop with that, and what would be the criteria? And also, but to give guidance for families and have well-marked, sections in the library.
I agree with everything that has been previously stated. Nothing more that I can add from my perspective.
I'm glad that we put this presentation together. So our current collection development policy is largely the ALA's freedom to read and the ALA's billing rights for the library. That's why I asked if you were a member of the ALA or if our library was a member of the ALA, because I wanted to know where that came from. ALA policy is not law. That's just something that they think is right. And I would submit that it is not right that anybody of any age should have access to any book. I think that's absurd. I bought some books that are not here. Becky, you've done such a good job keeping the nasty ones out, truly, from our young adult section. There are some terrible, you guys, the ALA is promoting books like this. They're putting this as, the ALA describes this as essential reading for growing teens. And I just want to show you one picture. They're showing you how to masturbate very explicitly, showing you how to have sex.
I understand the ALA, but that book is not in our collection.
No, it's
correct?
not,
And
but that's only because of Becky.
Right.
Our collection development policy says that it should be in our library if somebody wanted it in our library. And that to me is a huge problem.
It doesn't say that you have, maybe I shouldn't insert that now. I shouldn't butt in when you're in your time.
Go ahead.
It doesn't say that you have to have it. It says that you should obtain that item for someone if you can. So I just wanted to clarify on that. I don't have to buy it, but I would try to get it for someone if they asked for it and they wanted to read that. I see what you're saying.
And that means that this book would be in our library, accessible to my 4-year-old son.
Or through interlibrary loan, which means that it wouldn't come into the library shelves. So
Right.
that's another option out there, just mentioning that as an option.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my thoughts and feelings are that, so this part of the freedom to read statement, most attempts at suppression rest on a denial of the fundamental premise of democracy, that the ordinary individual, by exercising critical judgment, will select the good and reject the bad. I think that's true of adults, but absolutely not true of children. Children don't possess critical judgment. So I would feel so much better if we could redo our development policy to not include the ALA, because for our board orientation packet to say that we have to have firm support of the American Library Association's Freedom to Read Statement and Library Bill of Rights, that's so absurd to me. Could we say that we have firm support of the Bible? Like, we wouldn't be allowed to say that. We wouldn't be allowed to say you have firm support of Mussolini's practices of fascism. Like, I think they use wording, when I say they, I mean the AM, they use this wording that sounds very much like things that Americans love. The Bill of Rights, freedom, those are great things, but this is not freedom. It's not freedom to give these things to children. I want to be an advocate for the library, I really do. I want to be able to tell parents, you can bring your kids here, it's a safe place. But if someone asked me, if this stuff was in our library, which our collection development policy says it could be, thank you for not buying it, then I couldn't tell a parent, yeah, drop your kid off, it'd be great. So then I can't advocate for our library. I'm more than willing to be on the policy committee because I know it's an undertaking to rewrite policy. I'm not trying to just shove that off. And I'm not saying that I have answers to all of this because I don't know what to do about books that are in the adult section. But it should be pretty easy to put something about books that are in the young adult, children, juvenile section that it can't have anything obscene, anything explicit. Those definitions are clear in Iowa law. That there's no question, there's no gray area. So it wouldn't be difficult for us to say, nope, can't have that one. That's not something that's going to be. But I understand your point of in the adult section. I mean, we'd probably have to get rid of a third of the books if we were going to get rid of every book that described a sexual act. Could we put stickers on them? Could we? I mean, to be honest, these books by Hannah Grace, I think, are especially tricky because the cover so looks like a book that a little adolescent would want to pick up. And I don't know if they did that on purpose. I know we talked about that at the meeting and we said, well, sometimes the authors don't even know what the cover of the book ends up looking like. But I would think that if this author had in mind that my book is only for adults and I definitely only want adults to read this book ever, she would see the cover that someone chose and be like, maybe not. Maybe let's not do that one. So I don't think that was the case. I think she knew what it was. I dug deep about what the ALA is, about what they stand for, about what they used to do and what they've become. I don't know if you guys are interested in knowing anything about that, but if you are, I can share. I feel like I've said what I need to say.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate your response. Lisa? Okay. Ruth wasn't here, she wanted me to read something. Roger Moore, library director, and on work commitment to present to attend the meeting today. First, I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for fellow board members and the joy knowing me of the day-to-day operations at the Sioux Center Public Library. This work is a gift. Second, I want to emphasize the public nature of the Sioux Center Public Library and the importance of access and information for all patrons. Patrons have the ability to check out a wide range of books and materials. They have the choice of reading and return, or to simply return the materials when they are not aligned with the framework of content they desire. As a board member, I appreciate advocacy by patrons and wisdom of the board and director in choosing to move items to more age-appropriate spaces in the library. Our collection policy provides a consistent addition of materials into our building, and our staff has a process of moving materials with full circulation. I value this work and encourage continuation of this process. Our library provides materials for many patrons from a variety of backgrounds with many different interests. I encourage my fellow board members to continue to provide access to a wide range of information for our patrons. And then just me, because I just had to get some stuff down on thought, so you can forgive me if regarding this book itself, don't like it, don't approve of it, I hate it, do not find this book checked out in my house, I do not approve of this book. I personally don't like anybody would want to read this book. It's garbage. However, we did just hear what Becky talked through, and I'm not going to remind you of that again. But I do want to make it clear, in other words, voting for this book on the shelf does not mean that you're voting to approve of the content of the book. And that is not true. And the challenge is, whose moral compass are we going to go by for all of the books? Who determines when that line has been crossed? I can guarantee you, although I love and respect everybody in this room, we all have different moral compasses of some way, shape, or form. We all have different guidelines that we're going to go by. Mine might be more restrictive to staff and boys. Mine might be more restrictive to students than others. But we all have those different lines. That's what makes it really, really challenging to navigate. I think it can resonate with everybody. I think there's a person around this table that loves this book, or even likes it a little bit, based on conversation before. Guys, this isn't easy, and I know I've wrestled with this, and you guys have wrestled with this. I do truly believe that we have a library staff and a library director that does their best to develop a collection as a whole that reflects our community. The Sioux Center community can be thankful for the work of our team here at the library. I will stand behind that very, very strongly. I think there's a few other reminders that we need to think about thinking about this situation. Guys, this book has high checkout rates within our library. It's not a low adult section book checked out, it's a high checked out book. This book was requested by multiple people to be purchased. This book is in the adult section, was in the adult section. And this book is commonly found in many libraries because of its popularity around the region. What I love about the Sioux Center Library is that we have done common sense approaches that other libraries have not done. And I just want to review some of those here again. First of all, we do have parents sign off for their kids to get library cards. So no kid can get a library card without, no underage kid can get a library card for their parents signing for that. Parents can request a record of the checkouts to which we'll send receipts to their house. Mail them to their house of what their kids have checked out.
I should say what's currently
What's
on that
currently on the
card.
card, yep. And this is not true of every library that will ever do that. We do have in the adult books comment forms inside the front covers of all the adult books for people to leave comments on the book so that readers can make informed choices. This also is not necessarily common in other libraries. Becky and team have already found ways to implement some common sense approaches, which is possible in this arena, that honestly is really difficult for all of us to navigate. And I do think that Terry is 100% correct. I do think as a board, it's our obligation to continue to navigate and see which more common sense approaches make sense and can fit with what we're trying to do. So I would very much welcome being part of a committee like that as well, to kind of look through that and see if there's other things that we can do with our collection policy. Quite honestly, I think a better place for this discussion to take place isn't at these local board levels, but at the legislative level. Legislative declarations need to provide boards better guidance and abilities to offer certain restrictions where it makes so much sense. There are ratings on movies. I don't know why that can't be made for books, and it seems ridiculous to me. And I think there's a lot of work at the legislative level. So there's a way that we can advocate as a board. I think we need to advocate at those levels. And we know people that we can talk to. I think it's our due diligence to, when we have those opportunities, that we speak to those opportunities, because we all want to make it easier for us to do this well. None of us signed up to do this job because we want to pick which books are on the shelves and on the shelves. We are pick this job because we love a library. A lot of us use this library. Our kids use this library, and there's a lot of things that we can continue to do to make sure this library continues to have success with Becky and team's leadership. So those are just my thoughts. This has been really, really hard for me to process through and think through as a strong Christian and as someone that does not approve of the content of the book by any stretch of the imagination. So I appreciate each one of you. I appreciate you guys coming to and your concern. Yeah, I have kids too, and it's not an easy world that we live in and have to navigate. These conversations are happening in all of our homes, or at least I hope they are. So with that, are there any